have heard of this boy too. His name is Travis Wammack, that Scratchy guitar.
My daddy brought a guitar home when I was about 8 years old, and when I turned 11, he bought me a Gibson acoustic, and I started playing my own lead, and then I started out, my first Gibson electric was a Les Paul Standard. It was a little bit too heavy for me back then, so I switched over to a 335. Got it at a music store here in town that was probably one of the popular music stores, Melody Music. I was experimenting with a lot of different sounds, and as a matter of fact, Gibson, when my record Scratchy came out, Gibson rep called him and they wanted me to endorse a fuzz tonic they had just built, a Maestro Fuzz, little orange box. And I went out there and I tried it, and it didn't sound, I built a distortion unit for my fuzz sound, and it didn't sound like it's like a dummy. I said, nah, I wished I had them now, but when you're 16 years old, you're not the smartest person in the world. Back when I first started playing, I didn't really have anybody out there that I copied, so I kind of made my own style up, which as far as Scratchy, the other side of Scratchy was supposed to be the hit. It was a song called Firefly. I recorded the thing in about '62, and it took us '63 to get a deal on it. We had shopped it around. Roland James was my producer, who was a guitar player, played on all the Sun stuff, Jerry Lee Lewis and all that stuff, which played a Black Beauty Les Paul. And he had shopped the record around, and we'd sent it to RCA at the time. Chet Atkins was head of that, and he sent us a letter back. He said, I pass, this scares me. And then, so we ended up, we put it out on Roland James's original label, ARA Records, and then Atlantic picked it up. And it was a record, it never hit #1 in more than one place at the same time. It was what they call a sleeper. It stayed on the charts for like about 9 months. It would hit in one major market, it went up to #1 at WLS in Chicago, and then it wouldn't be doing anything, and all of a sudden it hit in Atlanta, Georgia. And at the time, these two English guys had hired my trio. They loved the Memphis sound, and I was touring with them. They were Peter and Gordon. They had a #1 record, War Without Love. And of course, Peter Asher later became a great producer here in the States, Linda Ronstadt and James Taylor. But I went out with them, and I didn't even know that Scratchy was a hit until I was talking to Roland one day, and he said, we've got a hit record. And I said, great, I've been playing Firefly. And he said, no, Scratchy. And I had this, at the time, I didn't have a lot of money, so I had I paid the guys, I forget, about 15 bucks a piece, and I told them, I said, look, I'm gonna split the B side with you guys, the writers. So I split Scratchy with a drummer that played, Gene Chrisman, that played on all of Elvis's stuff, and all the stuff here in Memphis at the American Studio. He was a drummer, and bass player Prentice McPhail was on that. So I started doing it a lot on the shows with Peter and Gordon. We played WLS in Chicago, and at the time, the top DJ there was a man by the name of Art Roberts, and he called me up. He said, I just found out you was on the show. Can you play Scratchy? And I said, sure, I'll do it tonight. I usually do about 20 minutes opening for Peter and Gordon. He said, well, this is kind of ironic. He said, but War Without Love is #2 at WLS, and he said, Scratchy's #1. I said, go. when I was with Little Richard, we were in England. I did a show over there, and Robert Plant and Jimmy Page came backstage, and my son was a drummer with Little Richard. And he went over and introduced himself to him, and he said, "Are y'all wanting to see Richard?" They said, "No, we want to meet your daddy." So they came to me, and Page told me, he said, "Man, when I heard," he said, "when Richard was introducing the band, he introduced you as his band leader and guitar player." He said, "We both just turned around and looked at each other in unison. We said, Scratchy." And he told me that Scratchy was one of the songs that just inspired him to just really to pick it up and go with it.